Part 6. When people started asking questions. The next morning, the questions started rolling in. Her mom texted me around 10 a.m. "Hey, is everything okay?" She's not answering her phone. Then her sister. Then one of her friends. All of them acting concerned like this wasn't just another one of her "I need space" weekends. I ignored most of them at first. What was I supposed to say? "Hey, your daughter/sister/best friend is cheating trash and moved in with her side piece?" Didn't seem like something you drop casually over brunch. But people noticed. Her car wasn't in the driveway. She didn't post her usual Sunday coffee and self-care crap on Instagram. Even my buddy Josh, who lives a few blocks away, texted me asking if everything was cool. I guess I looked like a zombie when I ran into him at the gas station. I finally broke down and told my older sister. She's always had my back and I needed someone to say it out loud to. I called her, voice shaking, and just said she cheated. She's gone. And man, my sister didn't even hesitate. Immediate rage mode. What? That little? Are you kidding me? She offered to drive over, help me box her stuff, light it on fire, the whole deal. I said no, at least for now. I wasn't ready for that step yet. Still caught between heartbreak and disbelief. Later that day, I got a DM from Stephanie, the friend she was supposedly hanging out with on those nights. Turns out she hadn't seen my wife in weeks. She reached out because she felt weird being used as an excuse. Apparently, this wasn't the first time it happened. I don't want to be involved, but I thought you should know. I'm sorry. That hit hard. Even the people she was lying about were getting tired of being used. So yeah, the word started spreading. My wife ghosted half her world in one weekend. Not because she was heartbroken or guilty, but because she didn't want to be held accountable. She chose to disappear into the arms of some low-effort fling instead of facing the mess she made. That was when it really hit me. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Part 2. The slip-up that changed everything. So, fast forward to about 2 months ago. It was a random Tuesday night. Nothing special. She said she had a girls' night with her coworker Stephanie, someone I've never met but had heard about a few times in passing. I didn't question it. I wanted to believe her. That's the thing about trust, you don't notice how blindly you give it until it's shattered. She left around 6 p.m. all dressed up, which was already weird. I mean full makeup, hair curled, heels for Stephanie? Nah. But again, I pushed the doubt down. Told myself I was being paranoid. She came back after midnight. No explanation, just we ended up bar hopping and then went straight to the shower. That stood out to me. She never showered that late. I asked how Stephanie was doing and she kind of froze for a half second too long before brushing it off with, "Ugh, she was being dramatic, relationship problems, same old." Here's where it all started to unravel. She left her Apple Watch charging in the bathroom that night. Normally, she always took it to the bedroom like she was attached to it. But I guess she forgot. And I swear to God, I didn't go looking for anything. I just went to pee and saw it light up on the counter. A message preview from someone saved as Ryan, work, popped up. Can't stop thinking about earlier. That dress should be illegal. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I'd puke right there. My hands were shaking as I clicked into it, heart pounding, brain on fire, already knowing and still hoping I was wrong. What I saw, it was like watching someone you love die and keep talking. There were dozens of messages between them going back weeks. Flirty. Sexual. Some of them explicit. He wasn't from work. He was someone she'd been seeing. There were pics. And worse, she was telling him things she used to say to me. "You make me feel alive again." He doesn't even notice me anymore. Like I was a ghost living in our house while she was off playing fantasy girlfriend with some douchebag who couldn't even spell "your" correctly. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the couch staring at the wall until the sun came up. Part 3. Pretending I didn't know for a little while. So, after finding those messages, I was in shock. Like, full body numb. You ever get hit so hard with something emotional that it feels physical? That was me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. But instead, I just shut down. She came out of the shower all casual, towel in her hair, humming like she hadn't just blown up our life. Kissed me on the forehead like nothing had happened. I felt sick. I couldn't even look at her. But here's the thing, I didn't say anything. Not right away. I needed time. Time to figure out what I just stumbled into. Time to gather proof. Time to brace myself for the fallout I knew was coming. It's messed up, but I spent the next 2 days just acting. Like I didn't know. Like I hadn't read every disgusting message, seen every smiley face, and "wish you were here" she'd sent some loser behind my back. She went about life as normal. Or, her version of normal lately, cold, distant, defensive over nothing. Snapping at me for leaving my shoes by the door. texting on her phone with that smug little smile that used to be for me. I started noticing everything. How she turned her screen away every time I walked in. How she'd lock the phone before even finishing typing. She was so bad at hiding it now, but she didn't even care. She probably thought I'd never catch on. But while she was out running errands the next day, I did some digging. Checked the phone bill. Call logs. Even pulled up some of our shared credit card statements, blessed joint accounts. There it was: charges from bars we've never been to, an Uber ride from a hotel I'd never heard of, a Sephora receipt that didn't line up with anything I'd seen her wear. That same Ryan work had been texting and calling her every single day. The lies were deeper than I thought. This wasn't some one-time mistake. This was a full-on affair. Like another life level of betrayal. And I was the chump funding it all. And still I said nothing. I needed the right moment. Or maybe I was just too scared to face it. I'd built my whole world around her. How do you let yourself admit that the person you loved most is the one tearing it down? I felt like I was watching a movie of my own life. And I didn't like the ending. Part 4, the confrontation and the audacity she had. So, after about 3 days of playing dumb, I hit my limit. It was a Saturday. She came home around 5 p.m. claiming she had to cover for someone at work. I didn't even reply, just looked at her. Something in my face must have tipped her off because she paused at the door and gave me this weird look. Half annoyed, half nervous. I told her to sit down. She rolled her eyes like I was about to ask her to help with taxes or something. Real charming energy. And then I just said it. I told her I knew about Ryan. That I saw the messages. That I saw the pictures. That I knew she'd been lying every time she told me she was working late or hanging with Stephanie. I told her I wasn't stupid. That I knew this had been going on for weeks, maybe longer. She froze for a solid 10 seconds. Then, she laughed. Like a short, sharp, disbelieving laugh. Wow, she said. So you went through my stuff? Real mature. That's when something in me snapped. I told her not to flip this on me. That the issue wasn't me snooping, but the fact that she was literally cheating on me. Over and over. That I was the one being lied to, gaslit, humiliated. She kept trying to redirect. Said things like, if you were more attentive, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere. Ryan actually listens to me. You've been emotionally distant for months. She basically tried to paint herself as the victim. I called bullshit, obviously. I told her I had been begging for her to open up, to let me in, but she shut me out every time. I asked her if she ever planned to tell me or if she was just gonna keep sneaking around while I paid the mortgage and fixed the damn dishwasher. She said, and I quote, I didn't think you'd ever find out. Not, I'm sorry. Not, it was a mistake. Just that. Like the only problem was her getting caught. And the worst part? She still tried to downplay it. Said it was mostly emotional, that nothing really happened except a few kisses and harmless flirting. Like I hadn't seen the texts about hotel rooms and what they did in the shower. I asked her to leave. She didn't even argue. Just grabbed her keys and said, fine. I'll go to Ryan's. No shame. No hesitation. Like that was her plan all along. Part 5, the silence that followed and the fallout. The moment the door slammed behind her, the house went dead quiet. No footsteps. No arguing. No clinking dishes in the kitchen. Just silence. And let me tell you, that silence? It was deafening. It wasn't peaceful or calming, it was the kind that wraps around your throat and squeezes. The kind that screams at you even louder than words. I stood there in the living room, staring at the door, thinking. She really just left. For him. No apology. No fight to stay. No remorse. Just gone. I didn't cry, not at first. I was too stunned. I sat on the couch for hours trying to process what had just happened. Every now and then I'd glance at my phone, half expecting her to text. Nothing. Just silence. Like I was yesterday's garbage and she'd already moved on. I checked her location on Find My iPhone. Don't judge, I needed to know. She'd turned it off. It was like she'd flipped a switch and deleted our entire life together. Like the years, the memories, the holidays, the late-night drives, the sick days we spent wrapped in blankets watching bad movies, none of it mattered. Like I didn't matter. I kept thinking about all the times I defended her to people who said she was cold or selfish. All the times I told myself she's just stressed or she's going through something. Hell, I defended her to myself when things felt off. I let her lie to me because I didn't want it to be true. I went into her bedroom and looked around. Her perfume still hung in the air. Her clothes were still in the closet. Her shoes by the door. Everything looked the same, but it all felt different. Like a crime scene. Like the ghost of someone who used to love me was still there. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I pictured her with him. Laughing at me. texting him while I cooked her dinner, sneaking off with him while I folded our laundry, letting me kiss her goodbye while knowing she had someone else on her mind. And the worst part? I still loved her. Or the version of her I thought was real. Part 7. The messages she finally sent me. 3 days. That's how long it took before I heard from her again. No call. No apology. Just a text like we were casual acquaintances and she forgot her jacket or something. Hey, I think we should talk soon. When you're ready. When I'm ready. Like I was the one who ran off with someone else's spouse? The audacity of that message made my jaw clench so hard I thought I cracked a molar. But I didn't respond. Not right away. I needed to cool off, and honestly, I wanted her to stew in the silence a bit. 12 hours later, another text. I know you're hurt. I never wanted to cause pain. It got complicated. Complicated. That word. Like it was a math problem. Like cheating on your husband and lying to his face daily was just an oopsie-doodle situation. I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. Still, I wanted answers. So I responded. You've got one chance to tell the truth. All of it. No deflection. No blaming me. Just be honest. Can you do that? She said yes. I didn't believe her, but we agreed to meet up at a coffee shop nearby, a neutral place. Public enough that she couldn't throw a scene, private enough that I could still tell her exactly what I thought of her. The day of the meetup, I was a mess. Couldn't eat. Couldn't think straight. Every worst-case scenario ran through my head. What if she was pregnant? What if she wanted to take a break instead of ending it clean? What if she brought him? She showed up 20 minutes late. No apology. Just strolled in like she was doing me a favor. And you know what? She looked completely unaffected. Like she'd already moved on. That hurt more than anything. She sat down, didn't even order coffee, and just said, "So, what do you want to know?" Like this was a job interview. Like I hadn't been dying inside while she was off living some double life. So I asked. How long it had been going on. How they met. If she ever loved me. If she'd done it before. Why she stayed. And her answers? Buckle up. Part 8. Her truth. AKA more lies with a side of gaslighting. So, we're sitting across from each other in this overpriced coffee shop, and I'm just staring at her, trying to find a trace of the woman I married in the person sitting across from me. Spoiler. She wasn't there. She starts with this fake deep sigh and goes, "Okay. Yeah, I messed up. But it wasn't like I planned for any of this to happen." That's how she opened. Like she tripped and fell into another dude's bed. I asked her straight up, "How long has this been going on?" She bites her lip. Classic stalling move. Then says, "We started talking in January. It got physical in February." January. That meant she was already emotionally cheating during our New Year's trip. You know, the one where I took her to that little mountain cabin she said she always wanted to go to. The one where I thought we reconnected. Apparently, she was already gone by then. I asked how she met him. She said through work friends. Not even directly at work. He wasn't even a coworker. She met him at a happy hour. They hit it off, and instead of walking away like a married woman should, she let it happen. She told me it just spiraled. That he made her feel seen. That he paid attention. I told her I'd always paid attention. That she was the one who pushed me away every time I tried to get close. Every time I asked what was wrong. Every time I made dinner, cleaned the house, rubbed her back when she said she was tired. She had the audacity to shrug and say, "Yeah, but it wasn't the same." I said, "What, because he's new? Because he doesn't know the real you yet?" She just looked at me, dead serious, and said, "Maybe I needed to feel wanted again. You stopped looking at me like you used to." I swear, my brain short-circuited. She cheated, lied, disrespected everything we built. And now she was blaming me for not looking at her a certain way? I asked if she ever loved me. She hesitated. Then she said, "I did. I still do, in a way." In a way. I could have flipped the damn table right there. I asked if there were other guys before Ryan. She said no. But her eyes flicked to the side. Real fast. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that people's eyes will always tell you the truth before their mouth catches up. So yeah, I don't believe her. Not for a second. By the end of it, she still hadn't apologized. Not really. No tears. No guilt. Just excuses. She said she didn't know what she wanted and needed space to figure things out. I told her she could have all the space she wanted, starting now, and I walked out. Part 9, The Collapse of the Illusion. Walking out of that coffee shop felt like the final scene of a movie where the main character loses everything and the credits just start rolling in silence. I got into my car, shut the door, and just sat there. I didn't start the engine, didn't play music, just sat in that cold, stale silence with my heart beating like it wanted out of my chest. I wasn't even angry anymore, just hollow. Everything I thought I knew, our memories, our future, the us I held on to like some kind of anchor, felt like a lie, like I'd built my life on sand, and the tide had finally come in. You ever realize in real time that someone you loved never saw you the same way? That they were playing a different game entirely? That's what it felt like. A complete collapse of everything I'd built up in my mind. On the drive home, I kept thinking about all the little things. The inside jokes. The way she used to leave notes in my lunchbox back when she cared. The way we used to race to the bed just to call dibs on the right side like kids. All that stupid, cheesy, beautiful stuff. It didn't mean a thing to her anymore. Maybe it never did. And the house? It hit different now. Every room had her fingerprints on it. Her throw pillows, her books, her half-used skincare stuff in the bathroom. But she wasn't there. And all of it just felt like clutter. Like remnants of someone I didn't know anymore. I walked into our bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and just stared at the floor. I don't know how long I was there. An hour? 2? Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I cried. Not the kind of cry where a tear slips down and you wipe it away like it's no big deal. I'm talking full-on, ugly, guttural, soul-breaking sobs. The kind that makes your chest hurt. The kind that comes from losing something you can't ever get back. I cried for the life I thought I had. For the version of her I believed in. For all the nights I stayed up worrying about her, while she was out building a new life behind my back. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was betrayal at the deepest level. And when the crying finally stopped, I felt lighter. Not better, not healed, but lighter, like I had nothing left to lose. Part 10, The First Steps Toward Letting Go. After the breakdown in our bedroom, something shifted. Not dramatically. I didn't suddenly feel empowered or whole again or whatever people on Instagram like to pretend. But I did feel like I'd hit the bottom, and once you're there, you've only got 2 options, stay in the wreckage or start crawling out. So I started crawling. The first step was practical. I packed up her stuff. I grabbed a bunch of boxes from the garage, put on music, something loud and angry, and just started ripping the Band-Aid. Clothes, shoes, makeup, hair products, books, random crap that I didn't even know she still owned, it all went into boxes. I didn't throw it away. I'm not that guy. But I wasn't about to keep a shrine to someone who treated me like a backup plan, either. I found old notes from her, old photos, us laughing, traveling, being idiots. I almost kept a few. But then I remembered the texts she sent him, and that was all it took. Into the box they went. I stacked them neatly by the door and texted her. "Me, your stuff is boxed. Come get it or I'll leave it with your sister." She didn't respond for hours. When she finally did, it was just, "I'll grab it this weekend." "No, thank you." "No, I understand. Just business as usual." Like I was a landlord she needed to coordinate with. The next step? Therapy. Yeah, I know, cliché, but I was drowning and I needed a rope. Found someone local, booked a session. First appointment was rough. I sat there for 5 minutes before I could even speak. But once I started, it poured out. Like I'd been holding a dam together with duct tape and hope. It felt good to talk. To say the things I couldn't say to her. To stop pretending I was fine. I also talked to more friends. The ones I distanced myself from while I was busy trying to fix a marriage she'd already left emotionally. Turns out a few of them had suspicions. One even told me, "Dude, I didn't want to say anything, but she always acted like she was above everything. Like you were lucky to be with her instead of the other way around." Oof. That one hurt because yeah, I was lucky. Or at least I thought I was. But I was also trying. Showing up. Being loyal. Loving her completely. And she was too busy chasing attention from some third-rate wannabe. So yeah, step by step I started reclaiming my space. My peace. My self-respect. Still hurts like hell. But for the first time in weeks, I started to feel like I wasn't completely powerless anymore. Part 11. The night she tried to come back. It was a Thursday night. I was finally starting to feel like I could breathe again. I just finished cleaning the kitchen. Something about organizing things calmed my mind, and I was about to throw on a movie when I heard a knock at the door. Not a light tap. A full, confident knock knock knock. The kind that says, "I know you're home, open up." My stomach dropped. I opened the door and there she was, wearing a hoodie and leggings like she hadn't just detonated our life 3 weeks ago. No makeup, no smug smile this time. Just her standing there in the doorway, eyes a little puffy, like maybe she'd been crying now. For a second, I didn't say anything. Neither did she. We just stared at each other. Then she finally spoke. "Can I come in?" I didn't move. I asked, "Why?" She looked down, kicked the ground a little, then said, "I don't know. I've been thinking about everything. About us." Now she wanted to think about us? I told her no. Told her I'd packed her stuff already and left it with her sister like we agreed. Told her I didn't have anything left to give her. She started getting emotional. "I made a mistake, okay? It wasn't supposed to happen like this." I stayed quiet. Then she asked, "Do you really not love me anymore?" I'll be honest. My heart twisted in that moment. Because yeah, a part of me still did. That's what no one tells you about betrayal. Love doesn't always switch off just because someone wronged you. Sometimes it lingers like a ghost. But I also knew what love wasn't. Love wasn't lying to my face. Love wasn't using my trust as a cover for her double life. Love wasn't choosing someone else again and again, and only showing up when the house of cards collapsed. So I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I loved who I thought you were, but that person doesn't exist." She blinked. No tears. Just that flat, stunned look people get when they realize they don't hold power over you anymore. She nodded slowly, turned around, and walked off into the night. I closed the door, locked it, slid down to the floor with my back against it. Didn't cry, didn't shake. Just sat there in silence, peaceful silence this time. It was over. Not the kind of over where you hope someone changes and comes back. The real kind. Part 12. The day I filed for divorce. Took me 2 days after she showed up at my door to make the final decision. The one I knew I had to make, but I'd been putting off. I filed for divorce. And before anyone says anything, I know it sounds harsh. I know people say don't make decisions in anger or give yourself time to heal. Trust me, I did. I gave myself weeks. But in the end, I realized that healing wasn't going to happen while she was still out there, living her new life, still thinking she could waltz back in whenever it suited her. I didn't want to be her safety net anymore. I didn't want to be the backup plan, the guy she could always come back to when Ryan didn't text back or when she felt a little too lonely. I needed a clean break. For my own sanity. For my own self-respect. So I contacted a lawyer. I spent hours going through everything. Our accounts, our assets, our debts, the house. It was draining. It felt like digging up my past and ripping it apart. But I did it. I didn't look back. The day I filed, I felt a strange sense of calm. Like I'd finally taken control. Like I wasn't just floating in the chaos anymore. I didn't tell her right away. I figured she'd hear it from her lawyer soon enough. I wasn't interested in fighting with her over it. I was done. She did text me a few days after. "I hope you find happiness." It wasn't an apology. It wasn't an acknowledgement of the pain she caused. It was a throwaway line designed to make her feel better, to make it seem like she wasn't the one who shattered everything. I didn't respond. I deleted the message. I didn't need closure from her. I already had enough. Part 13. Moving on, a long road ahead. The divorce wasn't quick. I knew it wouldn't be. Nothing ever is when emotions are involved and there's a house, shared finances, and years of memories to untangle. But something weird happened during that time. I started to feel lighter, less burdened. The first week after filing was full of texts and calls from friends and family. Some of them supported my decision without question. Others were surprised or even disappointed. A few tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, saying things like, maybe she was just going through something, but they didn't understand. No one understood but me. And you know what? I realized I didn't need anyone to understand. This wasn't about their approval. It was about me healing, about finding myself again. For the first time in a long while, I started doing things for me. I picked up hobbies I had dropped while trying to focus on her. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected while living in the shadow of my marriage. I went for runs in the morning. I started reading books I'd always wanted to read but never had the time for. I even traveled a little, booked a weekend away at a cabin by myself, and it was the first time in months I felt a sense of peace. But the hardest part? The really hard part was dealing with the loneliness. The empty evenings after work when I'd come home to silence. The absence of someone to share dinner with or text about my day. I missed those little things that make a partnership feel real. The companionship, the inside jokes, the feeling that someone had your back. And the truth is, I still miss her. Not the woman she became, but the woman I thought I was married to. I missed the version of us that existed before the lies started stacking up. But every day, I remind myself that what I miss is just a ghost. It's the illusion I built in my head, and it doesn't exist anymore. And that's okay, because I'm finally starting to rebuild, piece by piece. There's no rush. It's going to take time. But I'm learning to be okay with that. I'm learning to be okay with me again. Part 14, What I've Learned and Advice for Anyone Else Going Through This. Here I am, sitting in my new apartment, looking out at a city I thought I knew, but now feels like a strange place I'm just starting to explore. I've learned a lot over the past few months, and I wanted to share some of it here in case it helps someone else who's going through what I went through. Trust your instincts. The signs were there long before I wanted to see them. The late nights, the defensiveness, the coldness. But I convinced myself that it was just a phase, that things would go back to normal. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. If you're getting gut feelings about your relationship, don't ignore them. Your intuition knows more than your brain sometimes. You are not to blame. The gaslighting was real. She made me feel like I was the problem for a long time, like if I had just been more this or less that, maybe she wouldn't have cheated. Let me tell you, that's a load of crap. People cheat because of their choices, not yours. You can't control other people's actions, and you certainly can't make them be the partner you deserve. If they don't respect you, it's not on you to fix them. You can rebuild. It doesn't feel like it in the moment, but you can get back to a place where you feel whole again. It's going to be hard and you might doubt yourself a lot, but little by little, things do get better. I thought I'd never laugh again or enjoy simple things without that nagging pain, but I'm getting there. I'm learning how to enjoy life for me, not for anyone else. Let go of the illusion. This was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn, letting go of the version of her that I created in my mind. The truth was, the woman I loved was gone long before I found out about the affair. I had to let go of the dream of the perfect marriage, the vacations, the anniversaries. Those things weren't real anymore. What I miss isn't her, it's the life I imagined. And I'm learning how to build a new life that's better, stronger, and more authentic. It's okay to grieve. It's easy to feel like you have to be strong all the time. Like you need to have it all together immediately. But grief doesn't work like that. You'll have good days and bad days. You'll have moments where you want to pick up the phone and tell them something only to remember that they're the last person you should be talking to. It's okay to feel that sadness. Just don't let it keep you stuck. Set boundaries. I didn't realize how much I had been letting her walk all over me until it was too late. I let her lie to me. I let her treat me like I was invisible. And it wasn't until I finally stood up for myself, until I finally said this is not okay, that I started reclaiming my power. Boundaries are crucial. And if someone doesn't respect them, that's when you walk away. You don't owe anyone anything but your own peace of mind. You will love again. I don't know when and I don't know how, but I believe this now. I've learned that love isn't just a fairy tale. It's messy, complicated, and sometimes it hurts more than anything you've ever felt. But it's also beautiful. There's someone out there who will love you properly. They'll show up, they'll listen, and they'll value you for exactly who you are. And finally, take it one day at a time. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to rush through the healing process or pretend like you're okay when you're not. Every small step is progress. Every good day, every moment where you feel a little stronger is a victory. To anyone out there reading this who's dealing with betrayal or heartbreak, you're not alone. It feels like the end of the world right now, but trust me, there's life beyond the pain. You'll get through this. And one day you'll look back and realize that the person who hurt you wasn't the one who defined you. You're stronger than that. And you'll be okay.